we are again. It's about the 10th time I've messed about with putting this 10-speed SRAM PG1070, which replaces a Shimano Ultegra, which was 11 to 30, and this is the SRAM PG1070 11 to 32 to give me just a bit more hill support. Here's the 11-speed freehub. I think it's a 177 or a 77, whichever the rear one is. It was in a pretty bad condition. I've lubed it up, greased it up, it's all spinning nice, the seal is where it should be inside. That all seems fine. There are two spacers. When you fit a 10-speed cassette to an 11-speed freehub, it seems you must have a spacer, but there are two spacers. One is a very narrow spacer indeed. And I don't know if that came with the cassette, or if it's part of the freehub, or if it's needed, or if it isn't needed. I don't know. I'm not sure. But something was going on when I was freewheeling and pedaling it. It didn't seem quite right. And I read that this is the one you need. This is the 1.85mm spacer. You see it on Wiggles' website for about £2. It's just called a freehub spacer. It doesn't tell you anything about it or what it's for or anything. So I don't know if you need both of these, but I think from my research that with a SRAM you just need the 1.85 and not both. So we'll go ahead and fit 1.85 and see how it all goes. So it might be my imagination, but when I clamp down this cassette, spacer's in there now, can't maybe just see it there. The freewheel doesn't seem to be quite as free as it was with the other spacer. Now I don't know if it's because I've clamped down this too tight. It says 40 Newton meters, which is quite a lot of Newton meters. And maybe if you over tighten it, it's not as... But I'll put it on the bike and see how it spins, but I just get the feeling that it's not as free as it was before. The complexity of all this. Something simple becomes quite difficult. So what difference does this bigger spacer make? As far as I can see, none. I'll just wind it up again. Feels the same. Feels like there's a little bit of resistance on the BB bearings which I've just put in. There's actually more ghosting now than there was with the smaller spacer, the 1mm instead of the 1.85mm. The freewheel sounds fine. Pedals are ghosting up to a point and they stop. The freewheel sounds free and easy. Sounds the same as actually it sounds a lot better than that bike. The greasing and the lube has made it a lot better. Made it really nice actually. So I don't know about the spacer. You can actually really see it. Don't know if I zoom in, if you can kind of see the spacer. Just probably in that view you can see the cassette sitting off the base of the hub a bit. I mean, that will be pressing down on the seal and the bearing cap, so we'll be doing something. It will have an impact, I think, in compressing the bearing seal. But I don't feel, and you can actually see it is sitting. It's not sitting proud. It's sitting off above it. So you know, it's an appreciable difference. Maybe it's a little bit smoother, but you know, we're talking fractions. I'm not convinced about the bearings. The bearings, it comes down to this 27 and 27.1 bearing cups. I had some 27s that I put in, but you're meant to use 27.1. The 27s press in, you know, with some considerable, you know, tightness, but the 27.1 you'd really have to hammer in quite hard. But does it make a difference? I don't know. There's no movement. There's no movement or anything going on down here. There's a slight feeling of, I can sort of feel in my fingers a sort of bearing but it could be the pedals. There's something going on in that bottom bracket. It doesn't seem serious. Something's pulling back a bit. Could be the freehub. But then if I try the other bike, it's the same. Maybe all bit. Actually, if anything, this feels like it's harder work to turn that one. No, I can definitely feel. I can feel the bearings, and I don't know what it is and where it is. Anyway, it's not a killer. I don't know. Is it the pedals? Is it the cranks? Is it the bottom bracket? There's no noises or anything. There's no movement. There's just a slight feeling of a little bit of roughness that I can't put my finger on. But certainly, certainly fixed the freehub. It's spinning away happily, and that was fixed just by taking the seals off the bearings, cleaning them out with acetone, and then putting in some new grease. It was a very simple thing to do, really. And the trick with it is to get the seal underneath the pawls. You know, you put the pawls inside the seal to get the assembly, the freehub, back onto the wheel itself, because otherwise you can't get it on because the pawls are sticking out. So you use the seal over the pawls, push it in, and then the seal pushes back as it goes in. The pawls get freed up and they connect into the ratchet holes. Man, the only thing anyway, that's enough.